Taking another look at the Ring of Fire collection here, and we've been talking about the main family tree with the Ravens as the trunk of the tree, with George Jennings, who started them all. Then we've got his daughter and son-in-law who made Davis Firearms, which became Cobra. We have some offshoots from that branch of the tree. Then we've got Bruce over here, the son of George, who made Jennings, which turned into Cal Wesco, Brico, and eventually Jimenez. And we're going to talk about Lorcin over here, who isn't really a branch of the tree. It is definitely one of the Ring of Fire guns. However, the only real association it has with the family is that Lorcin went to high school with Bruce. So definitely in the same area physically. They make similar guns, so similar that way. But as far as being an actual part of the family, not related. I got to assume, knowing Bruce, there was probably some backstory to why this guy decided to start a firearms factory in the same, LA area. So I'm not a big fan of Lorcin. In my mind, they're one of the ones that brought the worst reputation to the mix. Not that anybody else was angels or anything, or that anyone else was, doing anything wrong necessarily. My research is predominantly into the phenomenon and not necessarily the intent. I haven't done any actual interviews. But from the research I have done, Lorcin seems to be the biggest jerk of all of them. If you listen to the different sources, somewhere between 6,000 and 16,000, maybe more, maybe less, firearms left his factory from criminal employees who just would bring them out the back door, sometimes without serial numbers, and if you listen to some of the research, most of the time without serial numbers. So there's allegedly lots of Lorcins out there without serial numbers that just illegally left the factory. So obviously didn't do anything to help. He's just part of the Ring of Fire, so I include him. I only owned the one Lorcin. I didn't have any interest in collecting these. I did buy a 22 version because I wanted it to be representative for the 22 collection. So obviously they are part of the Ring of Fire, so it's important to have them at least represented. And it's also interesting that we'll probably do another video on the polymer guns, but Lorcin did start up standard arms for a while. That only lasted about a year, and then he did another company called Talon Industries, both of them using the polymer design. Now I'll note that the first polymer designs in the Ring of Fire stuff was by Jim Davis, who is the son-in-law of George, and he started Republic Arms, in 1998. So pretty much the same time he was starting, or a year later, Lorcin starts Standard Arms. Now none of them still exist. None of them lasted more than a year. The polymer was new, and trying to mix polymer and Zamac, I guess, didn't work so well. So interesting thing, we'll do another video on the polymers. This one's about Lorcin. Not a big fan of them. They should be included in the Ring of Fire, however, and again, only associated with the family through friendship back in high school. So that's another episode of the Ring of Fire guns. Stay tuned for more. Any questions, leave them wherever you find the video. And as always, thanks for watching.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.